Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy D, the JJK tuber that makes the quiet kids speak. I got some hot tea for your sis today, but before the video gets underway, don't forget to drop a like.
No, 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 no!
Jujutsu Kaisen is perfecting the shonen formula. The manga just sold over 1.7 million copies in a single week.
Oh my god.
While we start yet another thrilling arc in the anime. But I don't really like the new OP.
Cut the shit the fuck off!
But the ED had me chirping. I should also mention the Crunchyroll Anime Awards are fast approaching, with JJK receiving several nominations. But Nobara is not up for Best Girl.
It's all went to shit!
The Kyoto Sister School Exchange event to some may seem like an excuse to do a tournament-style arc, but I'd argue it has all the necessary build-up to generate some genuine excitement for the event battle scenario. The event was not only a moment for Itadori to prove himself as a competent sorcerer, but to come out of seclusion and reunite with his comrades. He really felt like he let them down at the detention center, to the point where he didn't want to see them again until he got stronger. Now he's learned from his mistakes and is given an opportunity to make up for it, and this is almost as big a day for Gojo as well. To watch his new disciple tear shit up at the event as a giant middle finger to the higher ups. Gojo has the utmost confidence in Yuji, and you can tell he's excited, so that's why he's acting extra goofy, which Nanami actually encourages. They both express some concerns for Yuji after what he went through with Junpei. Nanami reveals that he hasn't told Yuji about the Sukuna finger that was planted at Junpei's house, to keep Yuji from feeling responsible for what happened, which makes Gojo glad he chose Nanami to look after him.
My friend here, Justin.
At a secluded hot spring untouched by humans, Mahito and Geto rendezvous with Jogo, who's finally regenerated his body since his fight with Gojo. Jogo notes that Mahito is not at 100% as well after his confrontation with Sukuna's vessel. Mahito contemplates what he could have done differently to force Yuji into a pact that grants Sukuna permanent control. Like using Junpei's life as leverage for negotiation. But Geto says creating a binding vow with someone through intervention is not a simple task. Or if Mahito had fatally wounded Junpei instead of transfiguring him, Sukuna could have healed Junpei through reverse curse technique in exchange for control of Yuji's body. But Sukuna would most likely refuse this due to the major flaw in Mahito's plan that he doesn't realize. And that's because Sukuna's plan is already in motion, starting with the binding vow he's already made with Yuji. Sukuna can gain control whenever he wants, though only for a minute, which must be enough for whenever he's ready to revive. So that's why when Yuji tried to call out Sukuna after Junpei got transfigured, he had no desire to switch with Yuji at all. Anyways, after witnessing a fraction of Sukuna's power firsthand, Mahito agrees that his team should continue with Geto's plan of gathering the fingers as an offering to the King of Curses, even if they die in the process. Jogo is on board as his only goal is for curses to replace humans in the end, and Geto states that their next objective is to retrieve the 6 fingers hidden away at Jujutsu Tech, before the higher-ups choose to execute Sukuna's vessel. Gojo gets Yuji pumped by coming up with a surprise entrance for him, while the Tokyo students gather for the event, where we learn that the previous year's event held in Kyoto was dominated by Yuta Akatsu, and this is when the Kyoto students arrive.
64 bits, 32 bits, 16 bits, 8 bits, 4 bits.
Momo Nishimiya is a 3rd year, and her father's actually American. Her curse technique allows her to fly on a broom, of course.
But I'm gonna be butt ass naked so the wind could just be hitting my balls and shit. Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
Next there's Kasumi Miwa, a 2nd year, who we met previously. She uses a swordsman technique known as the new shadow style, and is a Gojo fangirl. Mai Zenin, a 2nd year and Maki's younger twin sister, who ran up on Nobara when she was just trying to buy a soda.
That's not fair!
Then there's the 2nd year Mekumaru, a sorcerer that
Robo bitch.
3rd year Noritoshi Kamo, from one of the big 3 sorcerer families, who believes that curse technique trumps everything in a fight. He sees Megami as a worthy opponent, and Itadori as a major threat. And lastly, we have the 3rd year and grade 1 sorcerer Aoi Todo. He's a massive simp for Takeda-chan, one of the tallest idols in Japan, and he can judge anyone's character by what type of person they're attracted to. But Todo's also a freaking monster. During Geto's attack on Japan, which takes place during Volume 0, Todo fought and defeated 5 grade 1s and a special grade curse at once, only using his curse technique against the special grade. And according to Gojo, he's only getting stronger. Now we're also introduced to Utahime Iori, a teacher at the Kyoto school and a semi-grade 1 sorcerer who does not like Gojo at all, but he trusts her enough to mention there may be a traitor at Jujutsu Tech who's allied with Mahito's faction. And once everyone has finally arrived, Yuji makes his big appearance.
ハイテンションな大人って不気味ね。
So Yuji's surprise entrance doesn't go over very well, and it was kinda just a way for Gojo to troll Gakaganji, the principal of the Kyoto school, as well as one of the Jutsu higher-ups. And yeah, Gojo fucking hates this guy.
Can't wait to report your death. Like, seriously.
Before the event, when Gojo was warning Gakaganji about the unregistered special grades he encountered, he also mentioned how the students in recent years are on a different level than those prior, and that they'll become far too great for the higher-ups to control, bringing up sorcerers like Yuta, the 3rd year Tokyo student Hakari, as well as Todo, stating that the current generation will go beyond special grade. After being scolded by his classmates for faking his death, Yuji starts to get acquainted with the 2nd years as the Tokyo team begins to discuss their strategy. But upon learning that Yuji just relies on his martial arts, they realize he can't add much variation since Panda and Maki are both very skilled close-range fighters. But Megumi vouches for Yuji, stating that in a fight without curse energy, he could solo the entire Kyoto team. This statement actually holds some weight since Megumi had briefly faced off against Aoi Todo. Earlier in their confrontation, when Megumi is being rushed by Todo, he attempts to defend himself by combining the Toad Shikigami with Nue for a curse technique extension called the Well's Unknown Abyss. This was like schoolyard bullying to Todo, but Megumi failed to match his intensity. The Toad-based Shikigami are helpful in many situations, but they're also one of Megumi's weaker Shikigami, and were unable to stop Todo as he overwhelmed Megumi with his superior strength and speed. We see Megumi is about to get serious, but Todo is stopped by Inumaki's cursed speech as Panda steps in to intervene, ending the fight. Now the Tokyo team plans to have a single person hold off Todo, so he can't wipe them all out at once. The role of holding off Todo was originally for Megumi or Panda, but is now given to Yuji, who says that if he's gonna fight, it will be to win. Meanwhile, in the Kyoto side meeting, Gakaganji orders the students to carry out the execution of Yuji Itadori during the event, stating that it can be easily written off as an accident. While there are differing opinions amongst the group, Todo, who has no interest in their plan, begins to leave, so he doesn't miss a television appearance from Takeda-chan. But when Noritoshi tries to stop him, things get heated.
Man, fuck you. I'll see you at work. Oh, nigga, don't hate me cause I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick. Better yet, maybe Tanisha will call your dog ass if she ever stop fucking with that brain surgeon, the lawyer she fucking with, nigga.
Todo threatens to kill anyone who orders him around, including Gakaganji. And while we already knew Todo is totally unhinged, in this scene we realize he's even feared among his own colleagues. This is also part of what Gojo was hinting when he said people will start to rise up against Gakaganji and the higher-ups. With Gakaganji gone and Todo refusing to cooperate, Kasumi suggests that they don't go through with executing Itadori. Momo says they should just focus on the game, knowing that Todo will charge directly for the enemy team, but they're doubtful Todo will actually kill Yuji, even though he most likely could. So Mekamaru suggests that one person trails Todo and delivers the final blow to Itadori, but Noritoshi insists that Yuji is a serious problem and cannot be left alive, urging the whole Kyoto team to attack Yuji at once. Momo brings up the possibility of their team getting wiped out by Inumaki's cursed speech, but Noritoshi reveals it can be stopped if you know it's coming, by flowing curse energy from your inner ear to your brain, and just like that, the plan to execute Yuji is set.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
As both teams move to their starting positions, Megumi asks Itadori if something had happened to him, as he clearly notices some change within Yuji that occurred while he was away. Yuji of course thinks of Junpei, and while at first he tries to act like nothing happened, he admits that something did, and that something is why he doesn't want to lose to anyone anymore. Megumi echoes the same sentiment and leaves it at that, and this scene really highlights the unspoken bond between Itadori and Fushiguro. The Day 1 event is an exorcism race between the opposing teams. The first to hunt down and exorcise the Grade 2 curse wins. As for the other rules, the event begins and it isn't long before Team Tokyo runs into Aoi Todo, who came prepared to eat ass, challenging all 6 opposing team members to rush him at once. But it's time for Itadori to go to work, as he meets Todo with a flying knee to the face. Yuji going toe-to-toe with Todo is still one of the most iconic Itadori moments. Not only is the fight choreographed beautifully, but it's a brutal slugfest, and overall one of those moments that encompass so much of what I used to love about Shonen Jump. I mean, the fight literally starts with Yuji getting stomped, like the floor at an HBCU frat party. Todo even begins to walk away, and we know the Kyoto team would have been there any second to kill Yuji. Luckily, Itadori's head is made of solid plot armor, and he stands up to continue to fight, showing Todo that he's on no bitch shit. But the most interesting thing regarding this scene that I've wanted to discuss for a while is Yuji's thing for Jennifer Lawrence. We love Jennifer Lawrence, but Yuji, who stands at 5'8", is specifically into tall girls with big butts, while Jennifer Lawrence is 1 inch taller. You're welcome for this content. Todo has a fantasy sequence where him and Yuji are best friends in a slice of life anime, which has spawned a fan theory that may hold true. Anyways, Todo and Itadori are cool now, I guess. And this is when the Kyoto team locate Yuji and move in for the kill.
That thing bleeding to the, you know what I mean?
Walkie slash.
Now while Yuji is battling Todo, something doesn't seem right to Team Tokyo, as they notice the Kyoto team are all moving together and towards the area they last saw Itadori. And through scouting with Megumi's Black Hound, he knows they're not heading in the direction of the Grade 2 spirit. So putting 2 and 2 together, everyone begins to suspect the Kyoto team of trying to assassinate Itadori under the orders of Gakuganji, while using the chaos of the event to cover it up. Panda begins to explain the different perspectives people have on Yuji, how it's normal that his classmates would no longer see him as a threat after the time they spent together, but how the average sorcerer would rationally view Sukuna's vessel as something to be feared, allowing them to blur the line between Itadori and a cursed spirit that must be exorcised. The decision is made for Panda and Nobara to go back and assist Yuji, while Inumaki proceeds on to hunt the Grade 2 curse and end the game. Maki says to Megumi that there's no point in them winning the event if his friend is killed, as they also backtrack to save Itadori. Maki really only invited the first years to compete so they'd have enough people to qualify, and her motive in sorcery isn't to save people. Her goal is to win the event and become a Grade 1 sorcerer, but now she's going out of her way to protect a first year she literally just met. As Yuji evades gunfire from Mai, he runs directly into Kasumi, who performs the new Shadow style Simple Domain, a technique that counters anyone that comes within a 2.21 meter radius of Kasumi. And this attack is sped up with the Bato, or quick draw technique, which of course increases the draw of the sword with curse energy. While Kasumi did hesitate, she's surprised that Yuji came off without a scratch, but by this time Itadori is completely surrounded, as he notices the killing intent of the opposing team.
囲まれた。あれ？こいつら。
Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
This is when Todo claps his hands, using his curse technique, which makes Noritoshi swap places with Yuji. Todo then warns Noritoshi to no longer interfere in his fight, causing the rest of the Kyoto team to back down. He again reminds Todo to make sure to kill Yuji, who replies that Itadori's fate will be in his own hands, because Todo would never hold back against his best friend. As the Kyoto team leaves Todo to deal with Yuji, they're finally confronted by Team Tokyo. Megumi clashes with Noritoshi and begins to ask if they're trying to kill Itadori, stating that the higher-ups in the big three families have plenty of motivation. And while Kamo's answer is coy, Megumi replies with confidence that they will fail, because they won't get rid of Yuji so easily.
Grow what you love.
While facing Kasumi, Maki asks why she didn't finish off Yuji. Kasumi, who of course hesitated earlier when attacking Yuji, says that she's not like the rest, and apologizes for what's happening with Itadori, but states that she still can't hold back in the event, as it's used to help sorcerers who perform well advance through the ranks via recommendation. We also learn that a sorcerer cannot be recommended by their own instructor. Kasumi hopes to rise in the ranks to earn more money to help support her two younger brothers. This is obviously in contrast to Maki, who is also motivated to become a sorcerer because of her family, but for more selfish and vindictive reasons. Maki, being born into one of the big three sorcerer families, without a curse technique and practically no curse energy, only wants to become a grade 1 sorcerer in spite of her clan. Both sorcerers have a lot riding on this event, as they start to square off to see who comes out on top. Todo begins to gauge the abilities of young Itadori, noticing that Yuji possesses more raw power than he does, but his initial hit lacks curse energy, while the rest of Yuji's curse energy hits after a delay. We of course know this as Yuji's divergent fist, which I broke down and discussed in a previous video. The greater point being that Todo considers the delay in the flow of Yuji's curse energy to be a bad habit that must be broken if Itadori is ever to surpass Todo and reach new heights. That's all I got for right now. I'll have more coverage on the Goodwill event and Jujutsu Kaisen. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. It's been really real, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.
It's all for you. I was out of control down that lonely road, in the fast lane. Found me all on my own and you got involved like you wanna crash me. Got me back and reset it, for that I'm indebted for even the small things. Don't mind fucking up a check as long as you said I make this shit my calling.